Microsoft 365 in practice. Hey Darius, how are you doing?
Very good, Jerry. How are you?
I'm well.
So we looked at Teams last week, but I understand the SharePoint thing is a big part of Microsoft 365, correct?
It is a big part. I have to be careful here because I have a bit of a soft spot for SharePoint. SharePoint was around first before they created Office 365, which is now Microsoft 365. So I've been using SharePoint since 1999. SharePoint is the file sharing and collaboration tool in 365, but it includes a lot more. You can use SharePoint to create a company intranet, a portal. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like a website for my company?
Calling it a website kind of implies it's available to the general public. I'm talking about an intranet with an emphasis on the tra, so an internal network. It provides sharing capabilities internally to a company or nonprofit. When SharePoint was a server-based product, before it was available on the cloud through Microsoft 365, it was only the big boys that had it, and companies like Ford or Coca-Cola and government would build big complex intranets to support communication and collaboration in their organizations. Now it's available to everyone and anyone to stand up a company homepage. Only the people that they want to give access to can access that intranet site, and then they can use it to share company information like news and files and calendars and, well, let's throw etc. in there. One of the most common uses of SharePoint is a document sharing. Sometimes that's all people do with it, and that's fine. In fact, remember our video from last week on Microsoft Teams?
All too well.
Well, fair enough. Microsoft Teams stores files, right? Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, along with your chat and your calendar. But in fact, no, it doesn't.
Say what?
The files are actually in Teams are stored in SharePoint. So the tool we're about to look at. SharePoint is the network folder, if you will, and Teams is just a way to view that folder. Does that make sense?
So Teams is like a interface for SharePoint?
For the files portion of it, for sure, and some other ways as well. In the Files tab, there's a link here, Open in SharePoint. That's the indicator that this list of files is actually stored in SharePoint. Let me click to open that. It will actually open a SharePoint site that stores our Teams files and is connected to the team. Now that we're in SharePoint, let's take a look at what SharePoint can do with the files. Here's our blog folder where we're developing this content. Here's the Microsoft 365 in Practice Module 3, SharePoint Sharing. Notice it's got a little splash on there, indicates that it's a new item. Here is the module text file that we're currently working on. In fact, I have it open on my other screen because I'm reading part of it as a script. If I go over to the ellipsis here, one of the things I can look at is version history. Version history is a feature that's built into SharePoint document libraries that automatically stores versions every time a change is made or every time you save the file. Of course, all these versions are restorable, deletable, or viewable, and some people don't even know it, even some of the SharePoint users. So when I synchronize this folder, what it does is it keeps a local copy in my computer down in the bottom right in the system tray. Okay, so that's some basic things about documents, and the next thing is sharing. Sharing is huge in SharePoint. If I hover over any of these folders or a file in my document library here, I can click that little share icon here as well, and I can share with people outside of my organization. If I say specific people, and I can decide whether to allow them to edit or not, and apply. Now I could share with Darius, for example, even though he's not part of the lightlever.ca domain, he's a Gmail user, I could send that sharing information to him and he would be able to read that folder. It's a very powerful feature, and a lot of my clients are using that for things like a kind of an extranet idea. It's an intranet, but then you can use components of it as an extranet. Now, what I want to talk about next is SharePoint Lists. And I really think about SharePoint Lists as like a hidden gem. I go up into my gear at the top right and add an app. I can add, notice, a custom list, lists of links, lists of contacts, etc. A simple one is a contact list. I'm adding a contact list. I'm going to call it vendors. Now we have a contacts list called vendors. Let me click to open it. So what I recommend is when you look at a list for the first time in SharePoint, the first thing you do is click the New button, and you can see right away all of the different data fields that are stored in this list. So I'm just going to enter a mythical person with the last name of Smith. Snith. Okay,
Snith.
that's Snith.
Snith.
That's going to be Bon Smith. Snith. Now, good old Bon here is in our contact list. If this were our corporate intranet, now anyone else in the intranet can see this list and they can edit it, they can share that information, etc. So it becomes a shared contact list and available, just like we saw with Teams, Darius, it's available in mobile apps as well. So you can actually get this information anywhere. What makes it really powerful is that it becomes a kind of the intranet becomes like a one-stop shop for organization. Where do we go to find our corporate information? We go here into SharePoint, and there it's got our shared documents, and it's got our notebook and our vendors list and that sort of thing. And these are highly customizable. So notice it says right here, add a column. Maybe I want to add a location field so I know where that vendor is, So I can show a street address and city and that sort of thing. I can add a custom list to SharePoint. And I've seen this used for lots of different things. Just say I want to have a simple inventory app. I'm adding an app. And this SharePoint will allow me to do this really easily. And everything that I'm doing here is available, fully functional on your mobile device, on your web browser. Sharing features work, etc. So this might be, the item that we're storing in inventory. Maybe we can have a multiple lines of text that is the description of that item. We can add another column that will be a number, quantity on hand. There's a lot of other settings I'm just skipping over here just for sake of brevity. Let your imagination run wild. What I want to do next is talk about customizing SharePoint pages. And this is kind of where the rubber hits the road with building an intranet. The concepts I'll show are exactly the same as what you would do to build your intranet. And it's one of the main things that we do at Lightlever is building simple, custom, out-of-the-box intranet solutions.
I don't have time for your sales pitch.
Okay.
How best can this be used to benefit my company?
Right, of course. To answer your question, what's going to make it work best for your company is that you build this homepage in a way that it serves your users. So we go up to the edit button in the top right. And now we can start editing this page. We can move things around. We can add web parts. And you know what? I just realized this is a whole other topic on its own.
Yeah.
I'd like to cover this in the next video. What do you think?
Yeah, I think our viewers can't wait to see what we have to share.
That's the point.
Until next time, guys.
All right. Thanks, Darius.
Thanks, Jerry.
Hey, I'm Jerry Brimacombe, and this has been another episode of Microsoft 365 in Practice. Please let me know if you have any questions, and your comments and subscriptions are welcome. Talk to you soon. Bye for now. I'd be thankful to have a haircut.
Well, got you there.
You did. Oh my goodness, you're quick.